Alright, this video I'm making a camera controller script for my game. In the last video, I made an input manager that took in my camera controller. This video, I'm actually making it with all the settings. Alright, so here's a generalization of my camera controller code. Basically, it takes in a reference to follow target, which in this case is going to be the player. And then it has variables like X and Y sensitivity, which are going to control how fast the camera's going to spin around the character on the X and Y axis. Then we have variables like distance and offset, which is for the third person aspect of this game. Since it is going to be a third person camera, it's going to need to offset itself from the character backwards on the Z axis or the forward axis, and then to the left and right or up and down on the corresponding axes. Here are just some clamp variables because in a third person game, you can't really move your camera all the way up and over the character or like below the ground, so we have to create a minimum for the up rotation and a maximum for the up rotation. And then we have some private floats here that I use to calculate the rotation on each axis using the inputs from the mouse. Here's raycast settings, so this is just where the camera's looking, and it's going to limit how far the camera can get information on objects. So I think I set it at 100 in the inspector. That's what these serialized fields do. They just let me see my private variables in the inspector. So here's the follow function. This is the main function of the camera. It sets the rotation X, or the rotation around the X axis, to the look input on the Y, so up and down on the mouse. It's kind of inverted, but if you go around the X axis or rotate around a horizontal axis, you actually are going to go up and down. So that's why we're taking the Y input or look input from the mouse, and then we times it by the Y sensitivity to choose our speed, and then time.delta time allows us to make sure it doesn't depend on the frame rate. So this makes it fair for all players. And then of course we're going to clamp or limit the rotation around the X axis to the minimum up rotation degrees and maximum up rotation degrees, so our camera doesn't go below the ground. So for the rest of this, I basically copy the same thing I did on rotation X for rotation Y, but without the clamping. I store it into a rotation variable using a quaternion.euler, which is complicated for saying X, Y, and Z of rotation. And then I apply this to the transform position and transform rotation. And I have two other functions that right now do not serve a purpose for the camera, so I won't explain it, but it'll be in other videos. So now I have a third person controller that can rotate around the camera. In the next video, I'm going to show you the off-screen stuff I did and the animations I put. As I make more mechanics, I'll be asking y'all for things y'all want to see in the game.
What the hell? Ich bin jeden Tag geeked, ich lauf rum genau so wie Säcke.